We have located Mr. Rumble Johnson. He is on the phone right now. Anthony, are you there?
Yeah, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, I tried to make some magic here. I wanted to have you and DC on the phone at the same time to really play this thing up, but we couldn't find you. I'm a little bummed out.
My bad.
All he wanted to say to you though was, and I'll replay it for you. I'll reenact it. He just wanted to say, "Hey Rumble, guess who's at the door?" That was his message to you. Do you have a response to said message?
No.
You have kept it. No. You have kept it pretty pretty 100, as the kids say. But I know you heard what he said about you last week. That at your core, you're the same guy and all this stuff. I mean, that has to bother you a little bit, right?
No, it doesn't bother me. He can think what he wants. I'm gonna still be who I am. I'm nowhere close to the guy that I used to be. Nowhere close to the fighter that I used to be. So a lot of people still think that I am that same fighter that I used to be when I fought at 170, but I'm a different type of animal right now. So everybody can think whatever they want. They can say whatever they want. I know who I am, and we'll see.
Part of you almost happy he feels that way? Great. Let him think that I'm that guy. That's perfect for you.
I mean, personally, I don't care what he thinks, like that. He's entitled to his own opinion. I just have to focus on me and just do me.
Now, honestly, though, I mean, this is a fun fight, and I think people are relatively excited. But deep down, you must have been disappointed that it's not Jon Jones, right? I mean, again, you've said all the right things, and I give you a ton of credit for that. But that's the fight. That's the guy that everyone wants to beat. You want to be the guy who beat the guy, right?
Yeah, everybody wants to be the guy to beat the guy. You know what I mean? I was disappointed. You know what I mean? Because I worked so hard to fight the best, and I couldn't fight a champion, so now I'm focused on the next best guy, and that's Daniel Cormier.
Will you feel like you're the real champion if you beat Cormier, or will you only feel that way if you beat Jon?
Yeah, I feel like I'm the champ if I beat him. I work my ass off to get where I am. It's not my fault. It's not anybody's fault with what happened to Jon. Jon did that to himself. Everybody knows that. But, life goes on, and you got to keep it moving, But when he comes back, if I still have the title and if it's my time to fight him, I'll fight him, But one day I know we'll eventually fight.
You know this. You think he's back relatively soon?
I have no idea. I haven't thought about it.
Do you agree with the UFC's decision to strip him? It's a pretty big move. What do you think? Was it the right call?
Well, yeah, I think it was the right call. If I was, if it was my business, I wouldn't allow that. I wouldn't want that to be. I wouldn't want somebody that did anything like that to be the face of my company. It doesn't. You just don't. You're not representing the company the right way doing that type of stuff. And nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. But regardless, if it was my company, if that was his first time doing something like that, I probably would have had they probably did what they did right off the bat. It's just something that doesn't look good on the company. It doesn't look good towards the fans. It doesn't look good on his family. It's a tough road. It's very hard to get over something like that.
And yet, and correct me if I'm wrong here, it almost feels like you sympathize a little bit with him, with his downfall, if you will. Is that accurate? Like, do you feel bad for the guy? Because you sent a very nice tweet to him, and it seemed like you were very positive, no ill will at all. How do you feel towards him?
I feel bad for him. I feel bad for a lot of people. I feel bad for his family. I feel bad for the UFC. I feel bad for the fans because UFC lost a great champion, and the fans didn't get to see the fight that they wanted to see yet. You know what I mean? And his family has to deal with this stuff too, not just Jon, but his whole overall family, and his team and stuff. So it's just tough, man. It's a tough road that everybody has to go down. But it is what it is, and I hope he gets better. Best of luck to him, honestly.
Do you think the UFC made the right call by picking Cormier and not someone like Ryan Bader who says he wants the shot? Do you think that was the right guy to put in there?
Yeah, I think it is. Bader's tough. Bader's a good athlete, but when you have a guy like Daniel Cormier, and then you still have Gustafson, it's a tough road, I think, for Bader, because he has a lot of guys he still has to get through, in my opinion. Even though I named two, I mean, like, if John was around, I'm still there. Gus is still there. Cormier is still there. I mean, even though he rocked Glover's still there. I'm like, it's not like it's an easy task for Bader to just say, hey, I need it next. You know what I mean? Like, it's a tough road. This division is not an easy division.
I don't think there's many people saying. I think it might be a little top heavy, but it's very, very tough to stay at the top, and that's honestly why I think Jon Jones is the greatest ever, because of who he has defeated as champion. Now, I spoke to your coach Henry Hooft last week, and he told me that he feels like this matchup is more favorable for you because Jon is obviously very long, but the main thing is, I mean, he's so creative, he's tricky, he's hard to game plan for, and DC, you know what you're going to get from him. He's stocky, he's a wrestler, he comes forward. Do you agree with that?
That this fight is easier?
Not easier, but a more favorable matchup for you guys.
Well, yeah, it is, because Daniel's not 6'4". You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
I can punch pretty straight instead of having to punch up at a guy. So, that it makes it a lot more even for me. But I don't think this is by far going to be an easy fight. This is Daniel's second chance. He's gonna bring it. I know he is. He's very passionate about his loss to Jon Jones, and he trained hard, and he was riding on so much emotion, and and everything. I think he's gonna do the same thing with this fight. But that's what I'm prepared for. That's what I'm ready for, and we'll see what happens May 23rd.
How much will you lean on your friend Rashad Evans, who seems to know DC well? He prepared for him once. It didn't happen, but I feel like he can give you some good insight. Will he be a big part of this camp now? Probably was a big part for the Jon Jones fight since he fought him and trained with him, but is that the case still with DC?
Well, no, honestly, I just been relying on my coaches and the guys that I brought in. Rashad has his style of fighting. I have my style of fighting. He has his way of what he would do, if it came down to fighting DC or Jon. And, I do what I do. We both have two totally different styles. And, just because he might do it a certain way doesn't mean that's absolutely going to, for me. So I just do what I do, man. I don't really try to switch things up too much.
So you're not going to bring in any wrestlers who, fit his build and look like him and fight like him. You're not going to do.
I got my guys. I got guys, and I still have guys coming in.
Okay.
That'll give me a run for my money, but it's not like we're slacking on anything over here.
And are you doing a lot of work with Vitor Belfort since he's fighting on the same card?
So we train, we drill and stuff like that. Vitor has his camp, I have mine.
Okay.
But some days we do get together and train side by side, and every time we spar with our training partners and stuff who we have in our camp. I tell them, hey, this is for a world title. Spar like you're fighting in the title match right now, and we bump gloves and nod our head to each other, and we go and do what we have to do. And Vitor's looking good. He's trained. I've honestly never seen a man train so hard for a year for one fight. And I have a lot of respect for him, man. He's definitely he's a inspiration to me.
So do you think the buildup will be different for this fight? Because I get the sense that DC will try to get under your skin, bring up these past things, try to, attack. He likes to build things up, and he's maybe an emotional fighter. Jon wasn't really doing that. As champion, some might say he doesn't need to do that. Are you preparing yourself, especially fight week, for DC to take some shots at you?
I'm ready for whatever. I don't expect anything, but I'm always ready for whatever. If he takes his take a couple of shots. I mean, that's fine with me. That gives the fans something to look forward to, and that just motivates me even more. You know, I like to just keep my mouth closed and do what I do, and I stick to my guns and just try and stay professional as possible, and just fight hard as I can at the same time.
And I'm happy you said that, and we'll end on this. I've had a lot of people, especially in the last week, considering how you handled the Jon Jones situation, say, "What's up with Humble Rumble? Do you believe that he's really this humble? Where did this guy come from?" I remember back in the day on my show, you were saying we had that whole maid exchange. Remember that? That was fun.
Yeah, I remember. I was driving.
Yeah,
I remember that.
And
I was on the
what's that?
I was driving on the turnpike. I remember that.
That was great. I enjoyed it, but you have matured in front of our eyes. Your interviews are different. Your demeanor is different. I recall interviewing you at a Strikeforce weigh-in way back in the day, before the Burns fight, and even after the Burns fight. I mean, you've grown up a lot, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what do you say to the people who say this isn't the real Rumble, that you're being too humble, you're being too nice, you're a prize fighter, we want to see some fire out of you, we want to see some trash talk? What do you say to those people?
What do they want to see? They want to see me talk trash and knock people out. That's not me. I'm not trying to be the fighter that they want me to be. I'm being who I am. So either they like it or they don't. That's up to them. I'm gonna still continue to be myself. I hold all of my emotions, and I don't try and badmouth anybody, even if I don't like you. That's why whenever I'm walking through the cage, I look calm, because I'm just waiting to explode on you as soon as I get a chance. You know what I mean? But either way, they're gonna enjoy what I do.
Sure.
Because I always go out there and perform the best of my ability, win, lose, or draw. So either they like it or they don't. That's up to them. I really, don't care. I just do what I do. And make sure I stay true to myself.
Would you agree, though, that you have come a long way in that regard, that you have grown up?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, when you have your career almost taken from you twice, it's something that can definitely change who you are.
Was the first time the eye?
No, not even that. Whenever the UFC cut me.
Oh, okay.
I didn't, whenever the UFC cut me, dude, I didn't know what I was going to do next, because all I knew was, and all I knew was to fight in the UFC. And then, when I was accused of the things that I was accused of, the allegations and stuff, I was like, really? Something like this is about to be started when it's not true, and then I got put on the shelf a little bit.
Yep.
So it was just, you definitely change who you are. You change your mindset. I mean, everything about you honestly changes. You know what I mean? Because you almost don't know. When you're going through something like that, you kind of, you know who your friends are, but then at the same time, you don't know who your friends are. You know who has your back. You kind of know who doesn't have your back. It's a weird situation. You know what I mean? I put my walls up big time. You know what I mean? When all that stuff started happening. And I'm pretty sure I pushed away a lot of people that I didn't need to push away. But, hey, I was almost to the point where I was like, I didn't know who to trust or who to like. It was just, if I felt like it was me against the world.
Wow.
And but I'm over that, and things on the up and up. Because at the end of the day, I still did my best to stay positive.
Hey, very last thing. Go ahead. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I still try to stay positive through the whole thing, because I was like, okay, I worked my way back into being in the UFC. Now I have something else that's trying to hold me back, and I didn't do anything. So I just made sure I stayed positive at the end of the day. I just made sure I had to stay positive and just keep going forward.
Yeah, and you've done a remarkable job of doing just that. I just wanted to ask you one last thing. Last Tuesday, before the news came out that Jones had been stripped, you tweeted, "Sometimes I just don't understand, LOL." And at the time, we were all searching for answers and whatnot. What were you referring to there?
Nothing.
Come on, man.
Nothing, dude. It was just, figure of speech.
Figure of speech? What were you referring to?
I mean, nothing. It's in the past.
Oh, come on.
It's in the past. I know you, man. I know you trying to get every little piece of dirt,
No, it's not
every
dirt.
little fact you can get. I know you. I know you, man. You do your job very well.
Well, I
You
appreciate
know
that.
what I'm saying?
You tweeted it. So, I mean, I wouldn't
I
be
know I
doing my
tweeted.
job.
I know I tweeted it, but I mean, I have my reasons, and uh, some people ask me, and some of my close friends asked me, and I still didn't tell them. So, I mean, it was nothing personal or towards anybody. It was just something that, I heard something, and that honestly popped in my head just to say, so I didn't blow up.
Was it related to the Jones situation or something different?
No,
Oh.
something totally different.
Well, then now it's even more interesting. You
I
could
know,
have
right?
you could have gotten out of this by saying, "Oh, it's because I wanted to fight Jon Jones." Now you've made me even more inquisitive, and I'm probably going to ask you again fight week. So why not just
I
get
know
it
you
over?
will. I said, I'm waiting to fight week. That's when everybody wants to tune in then.
All right, fair enough. We'll wait till then. For now, good luck May 23rd. Again, you've handled it all very, very impressively. So kudos on that. Can't wait for the fight. Anthony, appreciate the time as always, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, brother. Thank you, man.
There he is, Anthony Johnson. Tried to make it happen, him and DC at the same time, but guess what? We are just 19 days away from that fight. You don't have to wait very long to see them go head-to-head, toe-to-toe, all that good stuff and more. It's going to be a great fight. I'm looking forward to it. Of course, Jon Jones' shadow is definitely over this fight, and you feel his presence, but that's not necessarily a bad thing for both of them because one expects him to be back at some point. I mean, I don't think it's the end, and we'll talk to Malki Kawa about that later on in the show.